Welcome back to the farm, everyone. It is Memorial Day weekend, and we've got one last planting job to do. That doesn't include replanting. Wow, I think that April 16th planted corn is going to have the rows closed in another 10 days. It's growing like a weed out there, which is exactly what we want. Someone also needs to take care of this road ditch here. It's getting a little hairy. A lot of trees. The last small field we have to plant is essentially a labor of love. It is the Mattoon FFA plot. It's not actually a plot. It's 7 or 8 acres that the city of Mattoon lets the FFA chapter farm. A bunch of people in the community take care of different aspects. Greg Rhodes did the seedbed prep. We're going to do the planting. Bruce Daly, West Duckett are providing some nice Pioneer 13050 seed corn to plant on it. I believe FS out of Humboldt takes care of all of the crop protection and fertility needs. Greg Rhodes also does the harvesting. I'm gonna get the planter out, load it up, run in there real quick, and probably knock it out in about 5 minutes. Take me longer to get there than it will to plant it. Oh boy, we got a lot of things parked in the shed here. It's gonna take longer to get the things out of the shed than it is to plant it. That's what you get with these volunteer projects. One day, ladies and gentlemen, we will be able to pull things in and pull them out, not always have to back them out. Either need to put a door on the south end and pull through the north door, or put a door on both sides. I don't have a good answer yet, nor have I secured any sort of funding. Guess we could just finance it for 30 years. Anything's possible with the power of lending. I went ahead and started everything to let it warm up a little bit. The tractors move pretty quickly. These old tanker trailers need a lot of air to the brakes before they'll let loose. Just went ahead and fired it all up. We've got our Pioneer 13050. The nice thing about 7 or 8 acres, it doesn't take very many bags to do that.
How much is in there?
A quarter of a bag. Might be a half bag total between both farms. 2 bags of 13050 in each side. We're ready to head into Mattoon to plant this. 13050 is a relatively newer hybrid. Our dealer had it on his own farm last year and it did really good. High drought stress rating. When we get these dry summers, and I don't know what this summer is going to entail, it's a good hybrid to have versus some of your more traditional racehorses that need babied along the way. This one can stand a month of dry weather and still yield. Also has great dry down come harvest. Ran by Mom and Dad's house to fill up my water bottle and come back down the road, and here's Dad. I don't even know what he's doing. Watch out. Don't let the insurance guy see it.
Where's the high-speed bucket?
Button?
Where's the high-speed track?
It's the rabbit and the turtle.
Right here?
Yeah, that's it.
I don't think changes it.
It does. If you're going and you turn it down, you'll feel the difference. That's why you gotta have a trailer for those. Sometimes you're better off just not asking what he's up to, because you may not want to know. I say this from a point of affection. He is a character. For those of you who know him, my dad Marty is just something else. They don't make many people like him. We're gonna go ahead and head into town. Should take us about 15 minutes to get there, knock out this plot, and then come home without issues. That's what I'm predicting. Planter's off the ground. Don't want to drag that out the driveway. We learned that lesson the hard way. As I mentioned earlier, it is Memorial Day weekend here. We're getting close to the end of May. I guesstimate that in our area, from here next 10 miles north, most farmers are about 80% done. That puts us kind of around average. the slower folks, I'm not saying they're worse farmers, just people who take a little more time or wait on better conditions, are about where they normally be. Other than soybean yield starting to decline as you get into May, closer to June, I don't see any yield implications on the corn crop, even if it's not planted yet. I feel good about what we have in the ground. I mean, look at those March beans right there, look phenomenal. Should be ready to spray here in the next week or two. That was planted 9 days ago now. We've got a great stand of corn there. The forecast ended up drier than they were calling for a week ago, so I think everyone will get finished up. Here's Dad here hoeing around with his new mini excavator. Mom's supervising. He's really proud of that thing. When I stopped in to grab some refreshments, I told Mom that it's not like the backhoe where if you stand behind the rear tires, you're safe from the bucket. That one can spin 360 degrees around, so you gotta be ready to dip, duck, and dive like it's dodgeball at any point in time if Dad's on the sticks. Our neighbors, the Welches, are working up on this hill here. They worked the soybean stubble the other night. It looks really good. They run a high-speed disc. I've heard a lot of people suggest that maybe we ought to look into a high-speed disc. I think a field cultivator is probably slightly more forgiving than a disc when it's a little bit on the wet side, although that looks great out there. They've been farming around here for a long time, so they know what they're doing, and whatever works for them, I think will continue to work because, again, they've got a lot of experience, kind of like us. We may not share the same opinion on planting date or management strategies. I do believe we probably end up in about the same place at the end of the year, so it is what it is, different strokes for different folks. I've already checked the field. I know it's dry enough. Greg dissed it a few weeks ago or days ago, I don't even know. It looks fairly good. The real gamble here is it's Saturday morning in the city, and if there is a garage or yard sale, I'm going to be in trouble. We'll break out the big guns. Dear Heavenly Father, please disallow garage sales and yard sales for the next 1 mile of my travel. I do not want to get stuck in a traffic jam. Amen. The monetary aspect of taking your equipment in to volunteer to plant a little field is not a big deal. The inconvenience is just getting into the plot because it's kind of on the center area of Mattoon. There's no good way to get to it. You either have to take the highway and cut across the railroad tracks, or I go down by the high school and come up some of these city streets. Usually works, but we can't take our big equipment. These planters are fairly nimble. Our field cultivators would not like a road like this one. It's got low-hanging trees. We'd probably pull branches down and upset the neighbors. I may do that anyways here. Hey, buddy. Oh no. We've got a yard sale. This is exactly what I was afraid of. And a traffic jam. What are we doing? Turning around here? It was just a small yard sale. Everyone calm down. I don't upset the rail yard workers. It's like they're doing something important. There's a way to get in from the north. The downside to it is that you have to come in on Highway 16. That can be sometimes busy, not usually too bad. And then you've got to make a really tight turn in between the railroad crossing guard and the tracks. There's also a gate right up ahead here. I found it easier to just hop the ditch back there. Don't worry, I've talked to the yard master or whatever here at the rail yard in Mattoon, the CN yard. Assuming it's the same guy, or I don't even know if I talked to the guy in charge. I talked to someone here and they said that if we need to get back here to do whatever we needed to do to make it happen. And that's what we're doing. It's for the kids anyways, how can you complain? We are here, nestled away in Mattoon, 7 or 8 acres, Pioneer 13050 going in for the FFA kids. I'm gonna unfold here, if I can even see outside the dirty windows Dad left me. Hammer this out real fast, head home.
I'm just saying it wouldn't be as bad as we made it out, living in our hometown. They said if you got whiskey, don't overdrink it. And if you find love, don't overthink it. Just find yourself a good one, and don't you let it go. That's what they told. Maybe mom and dad.
Our volunteering job for the day is done. Took about 20 minutes. A few of those were added because Dad left this planter with a plugged True V opener. I noticed on the first time around the field, so I had to get out and crawl that out. It's sort of like telling someone the bathroom's ready and then you go in and the toilet's plugged. That's probably not the most accurate description. Here we are on the south side of the Mattoon High School campus. It's hard to imagine now, looking at my physique. Over a decade ago, I would have been out here playing some of these sports. I wasn't really a baseball guy. I played soccer for many years, kicked for the football team for a year. I was also really involved in our local FFA chapter, which is part of the reason I feel obliged to help them out and provide this very simple planning service to them. It's not exactly the Rolls-Royce treatment. I mean, it's so hard to see if there's anyone coming. Oh, someone coming. The facilities have improved a little bit. They've got turf fields everywhere. The soccer fields are turf, football fields are turf, new track. The FFA facilities are top notch. They have 3 agriculture instructors now. The FFA program is thriving. As an American degree recipient, I get a lot of joy in knowing that things are going well here at Mattoon. Good town, good people, except for maybe us. The mini excavator's gone, and Dad is in his yard shoveling. Looks like he successfully pulled those stumps. Add that to our $50 a day tally to pay that thing off. Everyone's mowing today. Mom's mowing, Jeff's mowing. Fence spotting. Check out the neighbor's planting rig. That's pretty slick. There's a little bit of a fence showcase in the neighborhood right now. The one neighbor over there is pulling that 60-foot Deere high-speed planter with his Fendt. I don't know if it's a 1050. A pretty large Fendt front wheel assist. Across the road, a different neighbor has the co-op out spraying on him, and they've got 2 sprayers. I believe one is spraying corn and one is spraying beans, but it's pretty neat to see all the green and reddish orange out in the neighborhood. The one pulling his planter with a Fendt, they've also got one of these newer Fendt sprayers. There must be something right about these machines because there are a lot of them in the countryside. A lot of neighbors getting the new Fendt sprayers. I don't know, I'd love to run one. They also look pretty cool. The green and burnt orangish red, I don't know what you call that color, has grown on me a lot. I believe this neighbor up here that pulls his planter with it really likes that Fendt. A lot of these co-ops and retailers were already running the actual rogators. I don't even know if the Fendt machines are even called rogators. There's a natural transition going to the newer machine. The tractors, again, a lot of dealerships I think are having a hard time breaking the chokehold that Deere and even Case in some areas has on its customers. And it's not like you're forced to stick with what you have, it's just not always advantageous to switch. Takes a good salesman and a good support staff. It's a perfect day to spray, really. Slight breeze, partly sunny, dry ground, and they are cruising through this field. Maybe they're spraying the same mix on both fields. I don't know. I can't really decipher where the property line is. The neighbors have a cornfield and a bean field right next to each other. Not entirely sure. Dad and I are out here in some soybean fields trying to decide if it's close to time to do a post-emerge spray. A little bit of henbit, which is probably just a tillage escape from back when these were planted in early April. Some water hemp pressure showing up very minimally in this field. One of them that we somehow managed to get right with the right residual timing and planting. We also need to spot in some areas of fields. This one, there might be 1/10 of an acre between a spot where water stands there and the other corner. Out of over 100 acres, only having that much is pretty good. We've got other fields that aren't quite as solid. There'll be a little more replanting to do. That's just part of growing beans. Sometimes they just don't want to come up. Pretty much all of our March beans have a great stand, other than maybe a thin spot here and there that doesn't justify spotting in. The April planted beans, we have a few more light spots. I just talked about some of those hilltops that get chalky and crusty, don't look the greatest, so we're gonna go drop some beans in there. Terrace bottoms, we want to have enough beans so we don't struggle with weed control. And the rest of the stuff that was planted in the last few weeks, to be honest, it's just too early to tell. You'd really love to be able to go out right now ahead of another slight rain chance and drop in beans. It's too early. We may have beans and corn that still need replanted once it's far enough along to determine your beans aren't going to make it. It's just too early still to tell. It's been a few days since I've checked in with you. We took the weekend off for Memorial Day. Obviously, if you had time-sensitive work to be done, I can respect any farmer who ended up working on Memorial Day. I don't see why you wouldn't. As always, though, we want to appreciate those who have served and ultimately, and most importantly, those who have sacrificed or the loved ones of those who sacrificed their life for our country. So you're always in our thoughts and our minds and our prayers, even if you have to work on the day of Memorial. We're gonna get these beans loaded up and hopefully get a stand established in some of these spots, because if it's not beans grown, it'll be water hemp. 6 foot, easy. 2 foot, easy. Whoa. Got to replant beans in. Should be enough, although I don't know for sure. For late May, it is actually cool outside today. This weekend, although enjoyable, has been in the 70s at the highest. Overcast all day. Not great for guys who have a lot left to go, because the ground, much like a few weeks ago when we were running, just isn't drying. and it's hard to plant into good seed conditions when the ground isn't drying. Unfortunately, we've got some corn planted that really needs some heat and also needs some rain if it's going to get a good stand, because it looks a little spotty right now. I imagine it's going to be one of those years where you're kind of between a rock and a hard place, because the guys who waited for better conditions aren't getting much better conditions and are also waiting on it to warm up. We went a little early, and arguably the same conditions guys are running in today. Still, spotty emergence in our corn. Beans to be determined. Just need some heat. There's a difference in terminology. Some people assume if you say replant, you're planting the entire field again. I use the same term for both. We're just spotting in beans. So there's areas in fields that look a little troublesome. We're going out and dropping in beans in those select areas. Right now we don't have any entire fields that need replanted. We have had that happen before, just not happened yet this year. Good, anything's possible. As of right now, those late March planted beans are the best beans we have. They've got a lot of growth to them, we got a good stand, even in the weaker spots, there's a lot of beans. The earlier March beans that got the hard frost on them, they look a little more questionable. I don't know that I would recommend that planting date after seeing what I've seen. It's a learning process. Here is our stop. Terrace bottoms like this, you can see they're thin. Light hilltops, not necessarily here, but other places are a little thin as well. These beans have been in the ground for a long time. They just haven't really grown that much. The conditions were really nice when we planted this. Otherwise, it's been kind of moist and cool since. 20 minutes and about 12 acres of replanting later, we've spotted in quite a few beans. I knifed them in right on top of the ground here. You'll even see some that pop out. The goal here is for these to come out quickly, and there is a fairly large amount of moisture in the ground. I mean, there's moisture an inch down. Those may be a tad bit shallow if it doesn't rain tonight, except they're calling for it. These hilltops that I mentioned where we really struggle with getting good stands, you look out here through the well-drained, better soil, phenomenal stand of soybeans for the most part. Terrace bottoms, hilltops, not quite so much. Replanting soybeans is one of the more difficult jobs on the farm, mostly because it's so hard to eyeball from the cab. I found that the best thing you can do is to pre-scout any soybean fields you're going to plant and come up with a plan prior to getting the planter out here, because if you don't, you're gonna run into some issues. If you just eyeball these, yes, some of them don't look that thick. If I did a stand count, we probably got 100,000 plants an acre here. You're gonna do more harm than good trying to come in and spot these. There's Dad. Dad recruited me for some sweep augering back at the bin where Chris and Jeff are hauling. Put a few more bags of replant beans in. We've got another corner to spot in, and then probably have to do some more scouting. Oh, I think that's gonna be it for me today. I'm gonna go home and hang out with my family. Today was Lenny's last day of his first year of preschool. He'll have another year of preschool. It's amazing to see the changes from the beginning of the year to now. He's a little bit more ornery. That may just be a Dole family trait. The good news though is that he's gotten a lot better at socializing. He's learned a lot about the alphabet and various scientific things, and of course learned a lot about God at the school he goes to, which is always good. I'm gonna go home. Appreciate you all tuning in. Sure hope to see you in the next one. Peace.